The rain was coming down in sheets now, blurring the edges of Elena's vision. She hugged her cloak tighter around herself and pressed on. She needed shelter, and fast. Lightning flashed overhead, momentarily illuminating the path before her. And there it was again, beckoning her closer, a shimmer in the downpour. It wasn't rain that glistened, nor was it moonlight reflecting off the wet stones. It was something else entirely, something that seemed to pulse in time with the storm. The broken gates of the mansion loomed before her, half swallowed by creeping vines. Elena hesitated, then pushed through the rusted bars. She could hear the wind howling through the skeletal branches that clawed at the leaden sky. But what drew her in was that eerie shimmer. As she stepped onto the path, the iron gates groaned inward, as if the house itself had exhaled. Shedding her cloak, Elena smoothed the wrinkles from her travel-worn dress. She tugged her hood back, revealing a face streaked with both rain and fatigue, her bright green eyes magnified by their obsidian pools of darkness. Elena ran a hand through her unruly dark hair, its damp strands clinging to her neck. Her reflection stared back at her, distorted and wavering like a mirage. Startled, she stumbled backward. Then she noticed that every shard of glass in the window surrounding the hall had been long since shattered, leaving only gaping sockets where light might have streamed through. Yet this place was not without illumination. A single oil lamp flickered on the newel post at the foot of the grand staircase, sending twisted shadows dancing across the walls. Its flame was fat and yellow, spitting and sputtering, as if it too were struggling to survive in this desolate place. With each step she took, the air grew heavier, thick with the mingled scents of salt and mildew. Lena shivered, pulling her cloak tighter around her shoulders. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the relentless drumming of the rain. And then she heard it again, a soft, rhythmic breathing that seemed to come from the very walls themselves. As she moved deeper into the house, the temperature dropped, the breath growing colder against her skin. Fear pricked at her, but curiosity outweighed her unease. The source of that sound lay somewhere in this house, and she was determined to find it. Following the sound, Elena found herself in a room that was once a nursery. In the corner, nestled between a wardrobe and a rocking horse frozen mid-gallop, sat a wooden chest. Its surface was bare, devoid of any embellishment save for a series of arcane symbols that seemed to writhe beneath her gaze. Elena hesitated, her fingers hovering over the carvings. Then she pushed open the lid. Inside, shrouded in cobwebs, lay a collection of children's toys. A porcelain doll stared back at her with vacant eyes, its painted smile a grotesque parody of joy. A music box lay open, its cheerful tune mocking the somber mood. A silver rattle lay abandoned as if tossed aside in haste. As Elena lifted the rattle, the breathing sound grew louder, taking on a frantic edge. The objects in the chest began to shake, the rocking horse first, then the doll, then the music box, all as if possessed by some unseen force. Panicked, Elena slammed the chest shut, the rattle clattering to the floor. She fled the room, the heavy breathing following close behind her. Up the stairs she ran, then through a door at the top of the landing. She burst into a room dominated by an enormous mirror that stood propped up against the wall. Its surface was black as ink, reflecting nothing, not even the flickering candlelight that danced around its frame. Gasping for breath, Elena sank to the floor, her back sliding down the wall until she was sitting in a small alcove hidden between the mirror and the stairs. She pulled her knees up to her chest, hugging them tightly. She didn't dare look up, not when the air around her grew frigid and the smell of mildew intensified, as though whatever lurked in the mirror had sensed her presence. Then she heard it again, the sound that had led her to this place. The sound that chilled her to the bone, the sound of breathing. Only this time it was different. It was closer, as if whatever made the noise had stepped out of the mirror and was now standing right before her. With trembling fingers, Elena dared to look up. At first she saw only her own terrified reflection staring back at her, framed by the dancing candlelight. Then the reflection shifted, the edges blurring as if the glass were rippling. The candle flame sputtered, plunging the room into momentary darkness. When the oil lamp reignited, the change was complete. Staring back at her was not her own face, but the visage of a creature whose very essence seemed woven from the shadows themselves. Its form was vaguely humanoid, yet it seemed to shift and swirl like smoke given life. Two burning embers, where eyes should be glowed with an infernal light, and a cruel smile stretched across its lipless mouth, revealing teeth that were long and sharp as shards of glass. It regarded her with an intelligence that sent a fresh wave of fear crashing over Alina. This was no mere figment of her imagination conjured by the flickering shadows. The creature stepped out of the mirror, its dark form solidifying, becoming more distinct with every stride. And then it spoke, its voice a sibilant whisper that scraped against her sanity. "You shouldn't be here." Lena scrambled backward, knocking over the oil lamp. The flame sputtered and died, plunging the room into absolute darkness. The creature moved closer, its hot, fetid breath washing over her like a shroud. She could feel its malevolent presence pressing down on her, suffocating her. Panic seized her, propelling her to scramble to her feet. She stumbled forward, blindly searching for the door in the enveloping darkness. Her hands raked over cold, hard surfaces, finding purchase on the edge of the rug, allowing her to drag herself upright. She pressed on, driven by the creature's mocking laughter echoing in her ears. She felt her way along the wall, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. Suddenly, the rough texture of the wall gave way to smooth, cool glass. Elena's fingers found the doorknob, cold as ice. With a final surge of strength, she flung it open and stumbled out into the rain-lashed night. Gasping for breath, Alina ran, the cold rain a stinging reminder of her perilous journey. She didn't dare look back, not until she reached the safety of a nearby copse of trees. Their gnarled branches offering meager shelter from the raging storm, their collapsing at the foot of a moss-covered trunk. She allowed herself a moment of respite, though the word respite was a misnomer. For how could there be peace in this tempest-tossed night? The creature from the mirror, whatever it was imprisoned in that room, tethered to that cursed mirror, unable to follow her into the world of the living. Or was it a shiver traced its way down her spine, born of a sudden, terrifying thought? What if it wasn't bound to the mirror, but to her? What if she was the tether, the link that allowed it to bridge the realms? The notion was preposterous, yet the creature's words echoed in her mind. You shouldn't be here. Was it a warning or a reprieve? The storm raged on around her, mirroring the turmoil in her heart. Alina knew she couldn't stay here. She had to get away, disappear into the vastness of the countryside, put as much distance between herself and that house as possible. Rising unsteadily to her feet, she brushed the rain and dirt from her cloak and adjusted the hood that hid her face. Taking a deep breath, she ventured back into the storm, disappearing into the labyrinth of trees, their shadows embracing her like silent sentinels. As dawn broke, casting the first hesitant rays of sunlight over the horizon, Alina stumbled out of the woods. Behind her, the imposing silhouette of Blackwood Manor stood stark against the lightening sky, a monument to the encroaching darkness. She didn't dare look back. She kept her eyes fixed on the road ahead, walking without purpose, without direction. The sun climbed higher in the sky, but Alina felt no warmth on her skin. The joyous songs of birds meant her no solace. She was a creature of the night, forever bound to the shadows, or so it seemed. Days turned into nights, and nights turned into days. Alina walked, always walking, haunted by the fear that the creature from the mirror was hunting her, that its icy breath was on her neck, that its dark eyes were watching her every move. But it never did catch up to her, or perhaps it was always there, lurking just beyond her sight, a constant, terrifying specter dogging her every step. For how could she ever outrun the darkness within her? How could she escape the truth that the monster from the mirror was not a figment of her imagination, but a part of her, a part that had awakened and was growing stronger with each passing day?